everyone, and welcome to the Bearded Geeks, the weekly grab bag of topics covering movies, comics, video games, and TV. My name is Jages. I am the Beard Master, and with me today, it's the ravishing, the marvellous, the amazing, the fucking trying to buy all my shit off me, Patrick Brown.
You've got some good stuff in here, mate.
I do have some good swag, but you're not having any of it.
What about that Ninja Turtle down there, though?
I see you eyeing that off, too. Fucking, I got that for, I got that for Christmas years and years ago. When I was like 18, I got that for Christmas.
Really?
Yeah, my mum and dad know what I'm like.
That's one of the classics because
collectible
I was
shit.
Just watching the Toys That Made Us episode with the Ninja Turtles, and I've actually been looking on eBay at a couple of those because didn't they bring out a new lot of the classics, the toys? Figurines.
Let's see, like 10 or 15 years ago, they brought out a new Ninja Turtles animated series. Yeah. It was quite darker. It was a little bit edgier. Shredder was a bit edgier. Yeah. I remember at the end of the first season, Leonardo cuts off Shredder's head at the end of, like, the first season. And then, like, all the base and shit's, like, on fire and that. And then at the end of the episode, like, because it's at the end of the first season, you see Shredder's body get up and he picks up his head and he's got it under his arm and he turns around and, like, walks off into the fire, and then the first season ends. And I was like, holy fuck. That's actually a good show. You should look that up. I'll recommend that to you. Yeah, but how good was that new season of The Toys That Made Us? Oh,
I've been waiting for it to come out. Like,
me too.
I was actually looking up the release dates for it like a week ago. When's it coming?
Well, they had Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers.
Yep.
What was the other one that they had?
Wrestling and the
wrestling figures.
My Little Pony or something.
And was it My Little Pony?
Or was it like something else?
Because they had Barbie. They had Barbie last season, I think.
I think it was My Little Pony.
I think it was My Little Pony. I think it was. Yeah.
And
good season though. Like I learned some stuff about kind of Turtles and that kind of the behind the scenes stuff that I didn't know with like Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. You know, because he was a younger guy and he kind of wanted to move away from Turtles and do something different. Yeah. So he sold off his portion of the Turtles rights to Peter Laird. And then when Nickelodeon came calling like 10 or 12 years later, they all collectively sold it for like $60 million and fucking cleaned up. And they just cut back to Kevin Eastman. He's like, yeah, that hurt.
That would have hurt.
But yeah, it was kind of like, I like the end of that episode too, where they got rid of the all the reenactment stuff. And they kind of like, let's just, instead of paying to do all the reenactment stuff with actors, let's just get the actual people involved and just buy plane tickets and fly them to the same location and shit so they can reunite and stuff. Because like, apparently Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman, they're a little, their relationship was a little bit tenuous in that they kind of hadn't spoken for a long time and stuff.
For decades,
like, I don't know, But then they were going over, where they, where it all started and how they were going to we put this window in so we would have an art table at either side and we can pass each other pages through the window. And then the final shot of the episode where they both, like when they used to when they were young, when they first started, they both did drawings and stuff, and then they swapped and they inked each other's drawings.
Yeah, that was cool.
I thought that was
you
awesome.
actually see them drawing as like old guys, and they're still really good at it.
I won't fucking lie, mate. I got a bit of a tear in my eye when they did the renewal bit. He's like, Kevin Eastman walks in. It's like, awesome. And they hugged and shit, and I was like, Jesus,
you could tell they were old mates.
I'm emotional. I'm bloody emotional, mate.
I loved how at the start when they was explaining how he had this idea of Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and everyone was denying it because they're like, that's such a stupid idea. But when kids saw it, it just boomed. Because,
not so stupid now.
Oh, because I remember the feeling as well.
Yeah, the comic took off, and then if it wasn't for that animated TV series, I mean, that was when it boomed. That's when it took off. Awesome. Yeah, fucking good show. Good show. Really The Toys That Made Us on Netflix. Also, they've got the movies that made us. I think that starts this week.
Oh, really?
It's like Die Hard. Die Hard, Home Alone, and there were another two movies. I can't remember what they were. Oh, it was Dirty Dancing, and I can't remember what the third one was. But yeah, the movies that made us. They're going to have the movies that made us come out. Fuck, I'll be all over that Die Hard episode. Fuck yes.
When's it come out?
I think it's this week or next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the movies that made us.
Oh, wow.
Not the toys that made us, the movies that made us.
Yeah, cool.
So you're not getting any of me shit.
Yeah.
You can't afford it, mate.
I want it.
You know how long I wanted an alien figure like that for? Because originally, I always wanted... See, because when Alien came out...
That's classic Alien too, that is.
Kenner brought out a toy line for an R-rated horror movie.
Yeah.
A toy line for kids. And they had a similar kind of... You could get the big chap figure. I think it was like 18-inch tall figure or something like that. and it had like the pop-out jaw. I always like wanted like the 70s original figure.
Yeah.
And then I was at work one day and I was talking to one of the ladies at work and she's like, oh, my son's selling off his horror collection. And I was like, really?
Oh.
Really? Is he?
Nice.
I was like, what's he got left? And she's like, because it was hers, but she'd passed it on to him, and now he's moving on to something else, and he was selling it all off.
Has he got anything else for me?
So I asked, I was like, what's he got left? She's like, oh, he's got a big, like, alien figure. I was like, what kind of figure? Because I thought he might have had, like, the Kenner original. Yeah. She's like, no. And then I looked it up, and I found, I was like, is this it? And it was like a NECA kind of version they did a few years ago. I was like, well, how much does he want for it? So I ended up buying it off him. She brought it into work, and I had this massive fucking alien figure in this gigantic box sitting on my desk at work, and every bastard was going past and like touching it and looking at it. I was like, don't you fucking touch that. Don't you touch that, because someone will drop it.
I bet you were stoked when you got that.
Oh, man, I was chuffed. Look at it.
Best, yeah.
How good's that?
It's huge.
You're fucking eyeing it off. You want it.
I am. I really want it.
You're not getting it.
Honestly.
You're not getting it, mate.
I'll give you...
I'll tell you what.
That Red Dead Redemption.
I'll tell you what.
For that.
If you give me that Red Dead Redemption record...
That record.
and you let me have that Batman v Superman toy for 12 months...
And God of War token. You can have that too.
Oh, that too. Yeah, all right. I'll trade you those 3 things for that. And I'll throw in the bloody Kratos axe as well.
Oh, yeah, I want that. It's like the laughing axe. That's really cool. I love it.
Anyway, how you going, mate?
Yeah, really good.
Pretty good.
Yep.
Guess what we're doing today, Patrick Brown? You already know.
Yep.
We're doing a Star Wars roundup today.
Yes.
But
Star Wars.
Before we do that, I've got to address the elephant in the room. I promised I'd talk about this, but I haven't done it yet because I wanted a show where we sit down and we have a bit of our preamble and whatever. And Patrick Brown, we left. We went off the airwaves about 7 months ago. We disappeared. I promised an Avengers Endgame show, which never eventuated, and we disappeared for 6 months. And I kind of just want to clear up what happened and what's happening now and where we go from here. So we went and saw Avengers Endgame, and honestly, by the time that was over, like, I felt a bit burnt out by the MCU.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of building and building and building, and I'm kind of getting tense and whatever and that. And I finally saw it, and I just felt this big release of, like, MCU anxiety and tension and all that stuff. And I just like, it's just, now I've seen what happens. It's all over.
Yeah.
That's all over. And I kind of just felt a bit burnt out. And yes, I did promise a show, but as many times before, I just couldn't put it together. You were busy, Bob was busy. I couldn't get us all in the room at the same time. I tried the week after, it didn't happen, and then I just kept thinking, look, I tried to get other people out. It just didn't happen. I just kept putting it off. I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And then eventually I didn't do the show, and we went away. Now, before we did go away, I did talk about, you know, maybe we were going to go on hiatus at 100 episodes. We're going to have like 6 months off. So we got to that a little bit early. We got to that like 12 episodes early. But I just couldn't do it.
Just hit a wall.
I wasn't hitting a wall. It was
more of a stress.
It was a lot of little stuff.
Yeah.
Like I haven't beat around the bush. Kind of, you know, I've had a bit of an anxiety issue and stuff, especially last Christmas when we talked about, you know, work was incredibly stressful. I was trying to get shows out, arrange shows, get all my research and that done, all my notes and that ready, record shows, edit shows, post shows, email shows to you, you know, all that sort of stuff, and try to work at the same time and, you know, have a spouse and family and phone calls and bills and all that stuff. And I just had, I was having like panic attacks and shit and all that sort of stuff. So that was fun. So pretty much during the time we had off, I had decided, I decided I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing the show anymore. I've had enough. And I'm ready to put it to bed. I told you. I told other people. I told Bob.
You were pretty much going to quit on the thing, weren't you?
I was ready to walk away.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. And then time was passing. I was playing a lot of video games. Had some holidays off work. I had 3 weeks off. Kate and I had our 5-year anniversary. We went away, which was really good. And I just spent a lot of time watching TV, watching movies, playing games and that. And in the back of my mind, like literally every day, I'd think about the show. I pulled apart the beard cave and I'd moved my recording desk. I'd moved it out into the lounge and I was working on Gundam model kits out in the lounge while I was watching movies and stuff. And then after a while, I brought the desk back in here because I had to move my other bookcase out here, which had my Hot Toys on it. And I was like, I can't see my Hot Toys anymore. So I had to move it back out to the lounge because I wanted to see them. Because I didn't spend all the money for them to be sitting here in the bedroom all by themselves. And then I just got to the point where it was just itching. It was itching in the back of my mind. I was like, I want to record. Yeah. I do. But I think it was the nerves and the anxiety of remembering, like, oh, man, trying to get people to come in who, you know, are you available? Can you come in? Oh, I can't do tonight, but I could do this night. And then, oh, well, the other person can't do this night, but I can do this night. I'm like, fuck. So I'm just trying to arrange stuff. Yeah. And that was in the back of my mind. I'm like, oh, I don't really want to go through that again, or like just the anxiety and stuff of thinking about that. But it was itching at me. It was itching in the back of my mind. Every day I was thinking about it. I felt bad, and I'm like, I'm walking away. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be the guy who just quit and then left. I know I said I was going to do it 100 episodes, but I've been like topsy-turvy on it for the last 12 months.
It's almost like it's a part of you as well, isn't it? That's why it's itching away at you. Because it's actually a big passion of yours.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just throw away a passion.
I just like sitting around talking about stuff. You know?
Yeah, you love it.
So it kind of got to the point where I was like, well, what am I going to do? What can I do from now on? Because, like, I like the weekly show format, but the constriction sometimes of trying to, you know, you want to have a break, but you got to put content out. You promise content to people, and you've got a schedule to hit. You know, you've got a mark to hit, and you know sometimes you just feeling a bit, you know, not burnt out, but you're just a bit struggling for ideas and stuff, or you watch something and you're like, yeah, I could talk about that for 10 or 15 minutes, but not for a full show. Yeah, you know. So there was a lot of that, but then I just decided, I was like, well, what if I got rid of the weekly format? Yeah. I don't do weekly shows anymore. And I'm like, well, for this, first thing I thought of, I'm like, well, that's going to fuck my intro because it's the weekly grab bag of topics, not the every other weekly grab bag of topics.
The whenever grab bag of topics.
The fortnightly grab bag of topics. So I was just like, well, maybe I could get rid of the schedule. Yeah. I'm like, okay, that would maybe make things easier. And it was just itching away at me. And you were trying to get me to do other things the whole time. You're like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do like actual, just like movie reviews on YouTube? Just film yourself. I'm like, I'm not filming myself. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing any of that. That's not me. That's not me. I can just sit around and bullshit and have casual conversation, but dissecting a film to a camera, that's not me. I can sit around and have casual conversation. Sometimes I have perlers and that, but so I'm just like, yeah. And then I was watching an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience one day, and Joe was talking to, I forget who he was talking to, and they were talking about people and not being passionate and stuff. And I'm like, I have the passion, it's in me, but it's buried under anxiety and nerves, and it wants to get out, but it's being held back. It's being held at bay by all this uncertainty and that in me. So I was watching it, and you know, Joe was talking to this guy, and he was just like, you know what? If people have something they want to do, whatever it is that they're passionate about, just fucking do it. He's going, just do it. Just do it. And it's your thing. It'll be your thing. And that's something that you do that people can't take away from you. Yeah. You know, that's something that gives you some sort of creative purpose. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, Joe. That's me. That's what I want to do. And then a couple of days later, I spoke to my sister, and she's like, are you going to do more shows? And I'm like, well, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about it, but I'm not sure. She's like, just do it. Just go in there once and do one, and then see how you feel afterwards. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to fucking do that. So between Joe and my sister, who I both have to thank for us getting back on the air. So after that, I kind of, you know, the following week, I felt like the week that had just passed, I kind of broke through the anxiety wall of like worrying about recording and doing shows, and is it going to be good enough? Are people still going to be interested? Because we lost a lot of followers and subs during the 6 months and stuff, and I don't blame you guys for that. You know, I'd do the same fucking thing, to be honest. They're not posting anymore. Unfollow. So then I decided, like, yep, we'll fucking do it. So we recorded a show. What was our show 2 weeks ago? We did. I've forgotten already.
Yeah, you've done the Joker.
We did
Terminator.
Joker. That's right. We're going to do a Joker show because that was something that I did want to talk about. And Russell and I did it. And fuck, it felt good. I was a bit rusty. I was a little bit rusty, I won't lie.
And freeing yourself from the time constraints is kind of probably more, it brings back the fun, doesn't it? Like when you feel the itch, like you've just watched a good movie, you're like, damn, I want to talk about that. Get in there and do a show. It's then you're just flowing, you know. You probably just, that's a good way to do it, I think, and you'll feel a bit more passionate.
Well, that's the thing too, since I've noticed since we've come back, it's only been a couple of weeks, but since I've come back and I've decided to remove the weekly format. Yeah. So shows will just now be posted when we have something to talk about, or when I have something to talk about, you'll get content. But now that I kind of feel those shackles off me, like before we were doing a weekly show, but now at the moment, like I've got all these ideas for shows I want to do. Like I've talked to you about a couple. We have like, what if we do this? I flipped a couple of topic ideas past and you're like, oh, fuck, I want to talk about that. So that's got me motor running. But then at the same time, like I said, the weekly shows, but now that the shackles are off, I feel like, you know, I'm almost prepared to do I could do 2 shows a week.
Yeah.
Like, we just put up our Terminator Dark Fate episode yesterday, and we're recording this the following day, and now, you know, I'll probably have this done in a couple of days, and this will go up when it's done. So, boom, you guys are getting 2 shows in 1 week.
Yeah.
So, it might get to the point where, you know, now that I've removed the weekly format, you are going to get a constant stream of shows.
Yeah.
You know, we're not adhering to it, but you're still going to get shows, and it's going to be on a regular basis. And because I'm doing this, you'll probably get more content now. So everyone listening, you'll probably get more shows than we would have done last time. And I feel more free.
Because you won't even realize it. You'll just be like having so much
There's another
fun
show
with it.
done. Oh, I had,
And you might have 2 a week.
I had a spare afternoon. I've done the editing. That was really easy to edit.
Yeah.
Boom, I send it off to you. It gets sorted out. Boom, posted it, done. You've got 2 shows in 1 week.
Yeah.
But then obviously over like Christmas and stuff, we might take a little break and whatever and that. But you guys don't need to know about that because we're not adhering to a schedule anymore.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel renewed. I've got my juices back. Like I haven't felt this good since we started the show.
I think you're going to enjoy it a lot, yeah.
So I'm keen. I'm keen to get back into it. This is our 3rd show back.
I've always loved the show too, so I'm really pumped to be back too, doing it again, because I've always loved it. You know, it's good fun. I feel like it's just a good way to get things out and just have a chat, you know, and we just a bit of banter as well.
Yeah, because it's really hard trying to talk about movie like over texts and like in the messenger and shit. You're like, fuck, I've got like a 12 paragraph rant I want to go on, but I can't type that shit out. So I'm just like, it was good.
Yeah, like that Terminator episode we did. I just had to get all that out.
Oh god, you were chewing on that for a week.
I was sitting on that for ages, and I just had to talk about it, and I kind of saved a lot of it for the show, even though we chatted a little bit about it. But yeah, it was all just in the show. So.
But as well as removing the shackles of the weekly format, I'll probably still will call it the weekly grab bag because you're pretty much still going to get a show every week.
Yeah.
You might even get 2 or 3 shows a week, depending on what's going on. Like if I see something and I want to bang out a show, I can do out a solo show by myself and knock it out, and you can have that as well. Yeah. So in this happening, you're probably going to get more content now than you were before. Yeah. And I feel better now. I feel more renewed. I don't feel as much burden on me because I can take a break, or I don't want to do any editing today. I'm a bit tired after work. I can take that afternoon off, and then I can just come back to it when I'm ready. Yeah. And then you're still going to get constant supply of shows. So honestly, even though we were gone 6 months, that was probably the best thing that could have happened to the show.
Do you feel rejuvenated? Like
fuck yeah.
And you've kind of found yourself a bit more, like, because you had a time where you were burnt out and you needed that break. So you had probably a time where you wouldn't even think about the show, would you? And then it started coming back to you. And
it's coming back to me. I was getting the passion. I felt it creeping up inside me.
And then you just
tickling me in the belly, you know.
Now you've exploded. You're like,
I've exploded. A romantic explosion all over the place. And I'm like, I'm ready again. I'm ready to go. But I've got heaps of ideas. It's like coming. I'm getting the feeling of coming at the gym.
Day and night.
Have you seen Pumping Iron?
I actually downloaded it last week.
Oh, did you? We should watch it. I'll come around and we'll watch it together. Yeah.
I watched it with Mason in the background because I work out in the gym at my home in the shed there, And so I put it on in the background on the TV while I'm having a workout, just for something to do. And Mason, my 4-year-old, likes to come in, and he's just watching it too, and he's like, yeah. He's fascinated by it, and it's just interesting. And then that bit come on, he's like, coming day and night, and I'm like, he's like, what does he mean there? And I said, just means
he's going to the gym.
He's coming to the gym.
He's coming to the gym day and
night. Coming and going.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't explain it at all.
That's all right. He doesn't need to know yet.
No, he's only 4.
He comes home at 17 funny. And he's like, Dad, I got to go pregnant. He's like, we were watching Pumping Iron and it all just came back to me. And
yeah.
Also, coming off that,
yep.
I got off social media as well. Remember, I got off Facebook and stuff.
Yep.
From now on, I'm going to be getting rid of Facebook for good, or as good as I can get rid of it. It might still be floating there in the ether, but it won't be being utilized anymore. Same with Twitter, because I tried to get back on Twitter in the last week or two, but I fucking hate it. I hate Twitter so much.
I don't like Twitter. I can't get my head around it.
So I decided, because earlier on, I wanted to get out and promote the show kind of in every avenue I could, but it's so much work and it's so much upkeep. So what I've decided is, I don't care about that anymore. I'm going back to focusing on what I should have been focusing on, which is just more on the creative and what I love talking about and that, and not trying to be like, I want to get this seen by as many people as I can. It's cool if people find it, but now that's not my focus anymore. That's not part of my focus. I'm just focusing on the show. So from now on, we're only using Instagram. Over time, we will update all our images and all that other stuff. But I'm trying and post more often on Instagram and stuff. So if you're curious and you want to find us, we are on Instagram. That is going to be our main avenue. And you go to Instagram and just search for The Bearded Geeks. That's where we are. Give us a follow on that. You get old stuff. You get follow-ups. You get ice cream dates. You'll get new updates on the show when new episodes hit. There'll be images in that and letting you know when a new episode's out. And just more stuff along the line. I might finally start getting some photos of stuff around the Beard Cave, or, we'll be talking about games and that. We might do little videos and that. We might even do a bloody Instagram live one day, We might do a live stream thing on Instagram one day.
Yeah.
Just stuff around. Maybe we'll do Q&A. Send us a few questions and we'll answer them on Instagram live or something like that. They have a live feature, don't they? Patrick Brown, I think they do.
Yeah.
We'll find it out. We'll find out anyway. But totally 100% focus on Instagram. Fuck Facebook, fuck Twitter, fuck it all. Fuck social media. We're just here for the show. Right. So that's that out of the way. State of the pod address out of the way. So we're back. We're better than ever. Maybe. I don't know. You can be the judge of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're back. And I don't think we're going to do an Avengers Endgame show, but what we might do is, getting toward the end of December, we might just do a 2019 kind of wrap up. And we'll go back. We'll talk about Avengers. We'll talk about Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
We saw a few other things in that, other games we played. So we'll have a show where we go back over it all. And I'll see if I can get Bobby Baxter in here as well.
Yeah.
Because he's a hard one to pin down.
I'm sure we'll get
because he's working hard like a motherfucker. He's got no spare time. He's like, all I do is storyboard and be a parent. And I was just like, fuck. So, hopefully we can get Bobby Baxter back in the Beard Cave a few times and that now. But for the most part, you're just going to get myself and Patrick Brown at the moment with a few other odd guests sprinkled in along the way. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's good. It's good to be back. Thanks for coming in, mate. Thanks for always being in my corner. He was always trying to edge me. He's like, come on, mate. We'll go back. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. I'm like,
have your break, and then we'll come back. And
you don't want to, it's like the Joker. You can't just get rid of such a good character. You got to have more, there's got to be more.
I think I've just always seen it in you, from the beginning since you started. I can tell that it's just a big passion of yours. And as personally, I've also, got a different kind of passion of mine, and I know what it feels like. So I was just trying to think, I could never throw it away, and I'm sure it itches at you, scrapes at you, and sure enough it was, and now you're back. So
I just needed to get past that wall, get over that wall.
It's like an artist block thing that I've had before, and it's I had that once, and I nearly threw away my whole art style, to be honest.
Yeah,
there was one time way back when I was still finding myself, and it was And I think I was trying something new, but yeah, massive art block there, and it was just like hitting just a dead end. And then I eventually just found myself again, came back. So it was like, yeah, a bit like that, and I just kind of felt that with you, and I'm glad it's back.
I feel you too.
I love coming here.
I feel you too.
Feel it, mate. I feel it in places.
I feel it tingling me in the jellies and my little jellies down below.
Feel the Patrick tingle.
Oh, if anyone wants to know, the whiskey we were drinking last week is Dubliner. It's an Irish honeycomb whiskey. I'm very smitten with it. I've put in a secret request for Christmas. So if anybody wants to buy it, because we do Secret Santa at my household. So I'm just like, hey, Secret Santa, if you're having trouble finding me something, link to alcoholic website. Here it is. Fucking beautiful stuff.
It's so good, isn't it?
People who make Dubliner, if you want to sponsor us at any time, maybe if you're on Instagram, I'll just tag you in all our posts until eventually you get sick of us and block us or send us some whiskey.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. Remember I couldn't find it at that the Kingsway when we went there, and I was like, do you have any Dubliner? And he's like, and they didn't have it. And I was
they should get it.
Devastated.
Because then we go there all the time.
They gave me the McGregor whiskey instead.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
He's like, don't throw any tables and chairs around. I was like, what? And apparently,
Conor McGregor's whiskey.
Apparently it's a tagline or something that they have.
Yeah. There's this whiskey bar in town which we like to frequent. It's kind of our end of the night place. It's a little quiet joint. They got couches and that, very low light. We go in there to kind of have a whiskey and cap off our nights when we go out.
Isn't it?
Yeah, we just relax and have a chat and have a whiskey, and then we head home afterwards.
Yeah.
All right, Patrick Brown, let's get into the actual stuff that people want to hear, not all the bullshit that I've been talking about. Yep. It's time for a recommendation. Now, recommendations are what we have for stuff that we don't normally, we don't have time to do a full show for. Like if we see something, play something, read something or whatever, it's not something we can talk about for, half hour or whatever and that, but we can talk about it for a few minutes, but we definitely want people to know about it. That's what recommendations is for.
Yep.
So if we see something, watch something, play something, eat something, drink something in your case. I had this V from the servo.
Energy drink.
Oh my God. So, for the first time ever, Patrick Brown and I have a joint recommendation this week.
We went on a man date.
We went on the manliest man date ever.
Yep.
And we saw Dr. Sleep. The sequel to The Shining.
Yeah.
In both book and film form.
Yep.
It was kind of the combination of the two, because it was obviously very beholden to kind of Stanley Kubrick's film. I was wondering how it would kind of balance out or how it would be done, because I know for a fact that Stephen King hates the film adaptation of The Shining because so much was changed. Stanley Kubrick took the ball and kind of just ran with it and changed so much. And Stephen King hasn't been happy with it for like the 40-odd years that the movie's been out.
Even though it's like a cult classic.
Yeah, but like as films go and in film circles and that, filmmakers and film fans, that movie's beloved. Like they love that movie. So I'm just like, how are you going to kind of translate the book but also the movie and kind of combine the two? But honestly, I think it was done very well, because I turned to you. Well, the credits started to roll because it was a long movie, 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And the credits started to roll. I was sitting there and I was thinking, I was like, that is probably tied for the best movie I've seen this year.
Yeah, I agree.
And then as soon as I finished thinking that, it's like you and I are on the same wavelength. You turned to me and you just said, that was brilliant.
Yeah. That was like, because when you said that was probably the best movie you've seen this year, I was like, absolutely. Right up there. And I know we had like Endgame and stuff like that.
And Joker.
Yeah, and all that, yeah. And I was like, this is just something else. This is right up there and like close to number one. I said that was probably my neck and neck for number one. Like Joker and Dr. Sleep are kind of my neck and neck for the year. This one beat Joker for me even. This one did. So I'm just putting
That's a big call because you fucking love Joker.
I know. I'm putting this up against Endgame and stuff. So, because I really loved Endgame just because of the build-up and everything that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I was especially looking forward to seeing this because I had only been introduced to The Shining about a year before. Even though the movie's been out for, 30, 40 years?
40 years nearly.
And, I'd never actually seen The Shining, only little clips here and there, but not the whole movie. So I decided to watch it last year, and so that was, I liked it. And then, so still quite fresh in my mind with me, and yeah, so I was really looking forward to watching this and loved it. It was I found this better than the first movie. This was more like you know, a good sequel, but it was more, I would even call it more of an evolved, you know, they've took it further. They've took the idea of whatever the first movie was, just taken it further, and it was real authentic. It didn't feel like just some crappy sequel with, you know, to throw a lot of money at it and do something big. It actually felt like it was done perfectly. The pacing, the story, the direction, everything they did with it, I thought was just...
Absolutely.
Just done well.
I don't disagree with that at all. You really got to thank Stephen King for all that, because it obviously goes back to the book, first and foremost. You know, the book's about Danny Torrance. He's grown up. You know, he's an alcoholic like his father was. But then he moves to a different town, changes his ways, uses his shine to help elderly people pass on in like a hospice and stuff. He gets a job as an orderly.
Yeah, that was cool.
In a hospice and that.
I was wondering why it was called Dr. Sleep, and I was like, how did they get that title? And then, they explained that in the middle there.
Yeah, and then one of the guy in the movie said, okay, you're Dr. Sleep.
Helps them send off as they pass away.
Helps their makes their transition easier, you know.
I like how the cat kind of in the hallway is in
the cat, Azzy,
nursing home
the cat.
Or wherever they are, and it kind of senses when someone's going to die,
away. And the cat goes into the room and sits on the end of their bed, and all the people know as well. And they're like, if the cat's here, it's my time.
And that kind of worked because I've heard of stories like that where an animal, I think a dog or a cat, can sense when someone's going to die or something, and it kind of that worked for me, and it just had a bit of
isn't that crazy?
An eerie kind of feeling. Especially dogs can sense cancer and stuff. Did you know that?
Yeah, they can smell it or some shit like that.
Smell cancer.
Yeah, isn't that fucked?
Yeah, so
wow,
that just worked. I thought that was really cool. And then he goes in the room and just talks to them.
Uses his shine to help ease them on.
Yeah, because they're panicking. They're like, I'm gonna die, and then
it was really well done. I thought it was really well done. Like you were saying, I thought it was paced fucking perfectly. Yeah. There were no dips, there were no drags, there were no this bit slowed down, this jumped from that to that too quick.
And I was just interested from every scene. I was like, I want to know more. I want to know what's going on.
That first hour, like all of that was just set up. It was fucking perfect, and I didn't hate it. I didn't think it wasn't needed. I didn't feel like it was too much. I didn't feel it was too less. I just felt it was perfect all the way through.
Do you know what I really liked in it? Which, no, I'm not dipping into spoilers, I don't think. I'm trying not to. It's just you know, the bad, the more, the bad person of the whole thing.
The group.
They're like a cult.
They're called the True Knot.
Yeah, so the cult leader, I felt, she's quite powerful with the shining powers.
Rose the Hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she feels like quite powerful. And the way I saw it was like, at first I was like, oh, she's going to probably be really powerful. No one's going to be able to compare with her, and she's just going to be unstoppable or whatever. But what I really liked was that the other side of it, she's got the good, the little girl who's got the shining as well, who's up against her, could actually hurt her. And it was like, and then you could see the fear in the cult leader's eyes, and it actually, I really liked that. Like, it brought out her weaknesses, and she didn't feel strong at all anymore, and like I liked that because it just didn't feel so one-sided. It was like, and it went back and forth.
Yeah,
both ways.
Absolutely. Like at times they one-upped each other and that. And
I really liked that. So that was good. I
thought she was great. I really like Rebecca Ferguson, especially like in the Mission Impossible movies as well. She's been in the last two, and I've said it before on a Mission Impossible show, like if they ever wrap it up with Ethan Hunt, like I would love her just to come to the forefront.
Yeah, she's great.
And just for her to be in it, she's fantastic. And she looks so good in this movie. Not to objectify anyone, but she was great in this movie. She's got such a strong, confident presence.
Yeah, she does.
She pulls off that hat so fucking well,
Yeah.
And I just, I loved it. I loved her in this movie. I loved everything about her. The movie is directed by Mike Flanagan, who had previously directed Gerald's Game, which was a Netflix film, which was another Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But more famously, and I said this after I finished watching it, and I mentioned this to you, and you're like, that makes a lot of sense, actually. He directed every episode of The Haunting of Hill House, on Netflix, which felt like a gigantic movie broken into the 8 or 9, 10 parts, whatever it was. And I just said, when I finished watching the movie, honestly, that felt like a season, like an event series. Like if you just had like a 6 or 7 episode event series of Dr. Sleep and you condensed it down into movie form, it literally felt like I watched a series of TV in a 2-hour and 20-minute movie.
Like a binge, you just sat there and
that's what I felt like. And I thought it was just great. I thought it was the best possible adaptation you could have done. They did change some stuff from the book because I wasn't that familiar with Dr. Sleep. I was a little bit more familiar with what happens in The Shining and what actually Stanley Kubrick changed in the movie that was different to the book. So they kind of incorporated some things that were left out of The Shining into Dr. Sleep, changed it from the book and took some elements from The Shining and incorporated it into the movie, which I thought was really well done. The movie underperformed, apparently, in the US. It's only made about 50-60 million worldwide, I think. But I read an article today that Warner Brothers greenlit a sequel before the movie underperformed. That's what the article said.
Oh, right.
But same with reviews and that. I checked out a couple of reviews like I do after I've seen a movie and I've stewed on it. I just check to see what other people are thinking. And, you know, there are some people out there that really didn't like this movie.
Yeah.
And most of them, from what I've seen, is they're looking at it as a sequel to The Shining.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, they think it's The Shining 2, but it's not The Shining 2. It's different. It's Dr. Sleep. Like, it is the same character and the same events happened, but it is a different story.
It's a world builder, I felt. It just feels like it's the same universe.
And it does too. It feels so much bigger
and
now.
it's still tied in with the kid growing up now.
And the Overlook Hotel and
but
all that sort of stuff.
It's in a different area. It's different characters as well. So it's bigger, it's more evolved, and it's perfect. It worked so well.
I think that's like what a lot of those people were after. I think they were expecting The Shining 2 after that movie. But
like a new family or someone goes into the hotel.
Yeah, like
and
something
it's a
different. Like, you know, it's going to deal with more
but that's
with
what
that.
everyone does.
You know, it's a different story. You know, people grow up and live their own lives, and this is something that happened, but it's still tied back to that first book and first movie because they're kind of all combined.
There's like, I've heard a lot of people complain about the graphic scene in the middle there.
Oh my god!
You know,
yes,
which I didn't mind. I
felt you squirming. I knew internally.
Yeah,
not spoiling it though, but I was sitting there and I was watching it, and I just thought to myself, I didn't look at you, but I'm like, this guy next to me is squirming.
And you know that never happens because I love horrors. I love all that kind of stuff. I love the dark. I love it all. But this really, it shook me a bit. I was like kind of cringing a bit. I was like, oh, geez. I was like,
it's a bit full on.
Yeah, full on. And I know what people are talking about, but some people are taking it too hard. Especially, I guess they can't handle it, and they're like, oh, it didn't need to go that far and all that kind of stuff. It got a bit of what do you call it? A bit of flack on that sort of thing. So, but I loved it. I thought that was fine. I thought, you know, it really kind of, I think they needed that in the story to make it a stronger reason to...
Really shows them how much of a threat they actually are.
Yes.
And what lengths the True Knot are willing to go
and it really
to get what they want.
Makes you want to get, you know, deal with them. It really wants you to, you know, take them down.
But just all these people that complain and that, I mean, just go back to the 80s. I mean, they did... Well,
that's worse stuff.
To slightly not spoil it, but some bad shit happens to a little kid right in the middle of the movie, like a 10, 11-year-old boy. Some bad shit happens. But, I mean, you go back to fucking movies in the 80s and shit. Like, the one that always jumps to mind is The Blob remake in the 80s. They fucking kill kids in that movie, no bloody worries. Like, kids in the 80s in movies would get killed left, right, and centre, and no one batted an eyelid.
What about It and all that stuff?
Oh, you know? There's that too. No one batted an eyelid about that either. Oh, that was a bit full on. He's eating a kid and he's holding up and he's waving with this kid's severed arm. Like, what the fuck? Like, no one said shit about that.
Little girl gets eaten. And
oh, yeah, that too. Yeah,
and that's
I forgot
like
that.
This year.
Yeah, that was really good.
No
I
one
liked
says
that
anything
bit.
about
That was
that.
really good, yeah. Anyway, I thoroughly recommend Dr. Sleep. If you're a fan of the Shining book or the Dr. Sleep book or the Shining movie, I really think you'll dig this. But don't go in expecting the Shining 2 because you're not going to get it. You're going to get like The Shining plus the story of Danny Torrance with something different. You know, you're going to get that same world, but expanded upon greatly. And if you give it a chance, I think you'll enjoy it. And if you don't, well, sorry. But I loved it. I thought it was great.
I loved it too.
Definitely one of the best movies I've seen this year.
Yep. Solid.
Awesome. And that's it for recommendations.
Yep.
Patrick Brown. Let's talk about Star Wars, because we've got a bit of Star Wars stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
We're talking about The Rise of Skywalker. We're talking about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. But first things first, we're going to talk about The Mandalorian. Because and I, we watched the first 2 episodes. Now, here's the thing. Disney Plus did not launch in Australia until a week after America.
Yeah.
And if you know Patrick Brown and I, you know we spend a lot of time on the internet, we don't like to have shit spoiled for us. We did the dodge. So sometimes we've got to get things we want through alternate means, which was what we did. And we watched both episodes of The Mandalorian. We watched the first one independently. Yeah. But the second episode was released, and you and I got together, and we had some Dubliner, and we watched the second episode of The Mandalorian.
Perfection.
So we're just going to talk about that today. I think there's really one big spoiler. I think most people already know if you've seen it. At the end of the first episode,
you're not on Facebook, but
we'll try and
every second scroll I'm seeing is that. I'm not saying what it is, but it's like
it's that thing.
Just showing the picture of it, and I'm like, thanks for spoiling it for everyone else, you know?
All right.
Yeah. It's like,
well, by the time this show goes up, I assume most people would have seen The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Because it's launched in Australia.
Yeah.
It's out in the US. The first 2 episodes are already out. The third episode hits this week, I believe, or is it next week? I think it's like the 21st or 22nd.
Yeah, plus it's the biggest thing right now. Everyone's probably watching it.
It's huge.
They're all watching
and I heard it's going to be the most pirated show of 2019.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard.
Well, there you go.
Anyway, so let's talk about The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'd love to. You're awesome.
The first episode was 38 minutes?
Yep.
38 minutes. And the second episode was 30 minutes, which both you and I found a little bit surprising.
Yeah, I was like, I actually wanted more. I was like,
I just expected for it to be an hour show, or at least 45 minutes of content.
I don't mind it now I think of it, because I'm like, it's a nice little length. You don't really want to have to sit through. Sometimes you don't really want to show. You got to sit through a big hour or 50 minutes worth.
That's the thing, though. If you do an hour show, that means you've got to take your X amount of budget and spread it across an hour. Whereas if you have a half-hour show, you can just condense. You know, there's less to put money into, so you can spend more money to make things look better.
Yeah.
You make your visual effects look better. Your costumes, your sets, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Look better. Now, first of all, the thing I'm going to say, I fucking love the outfit. I love the outfit design.
Yeah, me too.
Because, like, nearly everyone's favourite Star Wars character is bloody Boba Fett. And I know why, because he's just that quiet, cool, badass. You never see his face. He's always wearing that mask. They kind of ruined it a bit when they did like the Blu-ray re-releases and they redubbed his voice with fucking Tamura Morrison, and you're like, oh, it's a bit dodgy.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody likes Boba Fett. Everybody likes them bloody Mandalorians.
Yeah.
And, I fucking love the outfit design in this. Lots of browns, very, very dusty, very dirty. Yep. Definitely gives you that fucking Western vibe, what they're going for, especially in the very first scene in the first episode, which I'll talk about it in a minute. But yeah, what were you expecting from The Mandalorian? Like, what were your first impressions?
Well, from what I'd seen on the trailers, I was already sold. I was like, yep, this is cool. And
because you're not the biggest Star Wars guy, are you?
No,
you enjoy Star Wars, but you're not a diehard Star Wars fan.
No, I like them, but I'm quite new to Star Wars, really. The last 10 years, I'd say. A lot of people have been in it from the start, but But I was really wanting to see just another side of Star Wars, because a lot of what I've seen is all, space battles and aircraft, spaceships.
Star destroyers, the Force.
Lots of lightsabers, lots of jewels and all that stuff. But what I've always really liked, what actually has intrigued me most in Star Wars is the
gritty underbelly.
The gritty side with the creatures and the monsters and the
bounty hunters.
Aliens and like when you go into that bar, Han Solo in the bar, and there's like all these different
cantina,
types
mate.
of
The cantina.
There you go, the cantina. And like you just see all these different types of creatures, and it's like a underground kind of thing. And I don't know, I just really like that side, and you know, being lost in the forest and all that stuff, or in a desert, and there's like sand freaking pit monster things and all that stuff. I think because as a kid, you know, some of the biggest scenes that have impacted me were like is it Jabba? Sorry, this is where
Jabba's palace, in Return of the Jedi.
Princess Leia is like a bloody slave or something.
Oh, the slave Leia outfit.
And there's a big monster underneath, and
the Rancor, mate.
And there's like the other scenes where there's the big Yeti in the snow, and it's like
it's a Wampa.
Here we go. And like Luke Skywalker's like hung up, and like you can see
cuts his arm off,
eating like it's eating like meat with blood all over it and stuff. All those kind of scenes are just what really, you know, they get me going. They're good. They're really just intriguing, and I found that kind of part of it good. So this is everything of that. The Mandalorian is a lot of that, all of that. I love bounty hunter stuff in general, so it's just fun. I just love it. Just simple.
Because you messaged like me pretty much straight away after you watched it.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck. You're like, I love The Mandalorian. This is probably my favorite Star Wars thing I've ever seen.
I could rewatch it over and over.
Because you never rewatch anything.
I don't know.
Because this is one thing that fucking irritates me about you, is you watch something once and I'm like, oh my God, that was so good.
Yeah.
Are you going to watch that again? You're like, I don't want to watch it again because I don't want to ruin it for myself. And I'm like, what?
Different.
Yeah.
You and me are completely different on that area.
Whereas you'll watch like, if I get a great movie, like
you can watch The Dark Knight like 100 times. You've already watched it like 100 times.
For an example, like when I bought Guardians of the Galaxy or Mad Max Fury Road, I got the home releases. I watched Mad Max Fury Road like 5 or 6 times in one week,
like back to back.
Same time with Guardians of the Galaxy. I watched that like 5 or 6 times in 1 week. There are sometimes I'll put movies on like. I put on like one of my favorite.
While you're vacuuming or something.
Yeah, like one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years is The Grand Budapest Hotel. Like I'll put that on in the background, and I kind of watch it, not watch it.
Yeah.
And then it's finished. Like this only happened like last year or the year before. Like I finished watching it, and I was like, "Fuck, that was so good!" And I immediately put it on again.
Oh God!
And just watched it over again because I'm like, "Fuck, I love it."
I think you're insane.
No, I think you're fucking insane because you can't. You're like, it hasn't been like 3 years yet. Or,
yeah.
Like when was the last time you watched this movie, Pat? Oh, I think I watched it when it came out like 2.5 years ago.
No,
like, I'm starting to feel like I'm getting ready to watch it again.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
because what I do, what I do is I watch a movie and I soak it in straight away. Like I absorb everything that goes in my eyeballs, and I just love it. Like if it's a good movie and I enjoy it, done. It's done for me. Movie's finished. I'm like, that was great. And I savor it. I like to make sure that I leave a big gap. You know, I leave it for probably a couple of years or a year until I watch it again. Like only recently, right? Because it's like I've got a little timer in me, and I'll get to a point in my life, and I'm like, man, I really want to watch like District 9 again, and I've had that just now, and I'm like, I want to watch District 9. I was listening to this podcast.
Yeah,
today
I'm coming around. I'll watch it with you.
Yeah, like, and then the other day I watched Elysium as well. Oh,
that's good.
And because I had that itch, and I was like, I really want to watch it. And when I watched it, it feels like
you're almost watching it for the first time.
Yeah,
again.
It almost feels like again
because you forget a lot of it. Whereas
there's a lot of stuff that's just gone misty and I don't remember.
You're like, I forgot that bit,
and it's like kind of fresh and exciting again. So that's why I have that kind of time gap, and I can't watch them.
That's really interesting. Like as much as that irritates me, I really appreciate that at the same time because you leave things for such a long gap, and then you're like when you kind of forget it. You kind of forget a lot of it, and then you're watching it, and then something will come back, and you're like, oh, fuck, I forgot about that. That was so cool, and it surprises you, and you kind of get that feeling almost again, whereas I watch stuff that I love over and over again, and I know it fucking verbatim. I know it inside and out. I know which side they walk in the scene. I know all the dialogue back to front.
My side of that is if I rewatch something over and over, let's just say I did watch something a movie too much, too often. If it was like in the same week, like 3 or 4 times in a week, I find for me, I personally would
you get turned off it.
Hate the movie. I'd eventually not like it anymore, and I probably wouldn't want to watch it for at least 10 years. Like it would literally. It's happened before because there was one movie that I watched too much too soon, and I was like, I feel like I can leave that for so long now, and I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah.
But another series that I'm only just recently now starting to want to watch again is like the Nolan Batman movies from, Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and the
Dark Knight Returns, Dark Knight Rises.
Just recently, and I'm like also feeling that, and I haven't seen them since probably they were released, in the cinemas. Because I
think the last time you and I watched The Dark Knight was when we were living together like 7 or 8 years ago.
Exactly, because they're so good, and I've wanted to just wait until the right moment, and I'm only getting that now. So
now that we've set all that up, Patrick Brown felt like watching he could watch The Mandalorian straight away, watch it again.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that never happened. So I was
that's super surprising.
I wanted
to
put the first episode back on again and watch it.
Oh, same. And it looks really good too.
Oh yeah,
like it's film quality. Like they've put the money into it. I noticed in like the first episode and that there were like there was probably a bit of cost cutting in that because they reused like a lot of assets from like a few of the movies.
Yep.
So there was like they used like weapons and that again, like a couple of droids. Some like masks and stuff, like creature masks and that.
Because didn't you say they recycled a lot of outfits and things from Rogue One?
I think so, like Rogue One and the last few movies and that, they recycled a lot of those assets and stuff.
That's a smart move.
Which saves a lot of money, and in turn you can put that money elsewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looked really fucking good.
I really like how, I think one of the main things I like about this show is just the guy. I don't think he's really got a name yet, has he?
He's just the Mandalorian so far.
Just his, just how he is. He's so quiet, doesn't really have to say anything at all, and he's perfect. Like he's like, didn't you say like a Clint Eastwood kind of thing? That was my takeaway, because the first scene for me, like in the cantina where he goes in and he has the altercation with a couple of dudes in there. Yeah.
That's straight up Western. That is straight up. A lone gunslinger walks into a bar, gets into a tussle with some guys, ends up taking them out and that. But that first scene, he's literally plays like Clint Eastwood in that first scene. Walks in, barely says anything, lets his actions speak for himself, and you get that shot that's in the trailer and that.
Yeah.
Like he does the quick blaster pull from the hip, like shoots from the hip. Like that's straight out of a fucking Western.
Yeah.
I love that. That's fucking shit. That's just worthy. I fucking love it so much. Because I'm a massive Clint Eastwood fan. I'm a big Western fan. I'm a big fan of Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, the Dollars trilogy. I got Once Upon a Time in the West sitting out there. I'm ready to rewatch that. I'm a big Western fan. But yeah, that first scene was straight up Clint Eastwood Western. But that kind of turns around a bit because he's going for a bounty and stuff, and he kind of plays the strong silent type man of very, very few words.
Yeah.
But tonally, it felt a little bit out of place because at the beginning of the episode, it feels like Jon Favreau's just gone to Pedro and say, right, this is going to be our Western scene. You're going to play this exactly like Clint Eastwood. Think Clint Eastwood. But then by the end of the episode, he was very talkative and he was saying a lot, and it just felt tonally, it felt
changed the character
a little bit different
slightly
from the beginning of the episode, because it just felt like, right, we want to set the show up with this scene, kind of like we want this to be a kind of Western style. People to think of this as a space Western kind of, and we want you to play it like this. But it kind of just felt a little bit tonally out of whack with the second end of with the back end of the show. But yeah, that was kind of like my only negative-ish so far with the show. It just felt the first episode just felt a little bit tonally seesawy a bit.
Yeah,
like it was going back and forward a little bit.
Another thing I like about the show is he's even though he's quite confident and he looks like he can really handle himself. He's well trained, proper bounty hunter. He still gets knocked down, and it's like he's in this world of just it's hard out there. He's getting...
It really is, especially in that second episode.
Yeah, and you really see that he hasn't got everything under control. He's not... it's still brutal out there.
Yeah,
like he's getting,
but he's super fucking capable.
Yes, yeah.
It doesn't matter like what he comes up against.
Yeah.
Like he can handle pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Like he finds his way through it.
Exactly.
I really enjoy it. The first episode especially because my Star Wars knowledge is really just from the films. A couple of the games I've played, a little bit of like old Star Wars canon, which they call Star Wars legacy stuff, like I've picked up over the years along the way.
Yep.
But I don't really know too much about the Mandalores, like his race. Like I don't know too much about that. I've learnt a bit in the last week. Like I've done a bit of research and stuff and looked online. There's heaps of Mandalore videos online now. So like, hey, here's an explanation of the Mandalores. 10 minutes. Yeah, I'll watch this.
Yep.
And learnt a lot about his race and what they've been through and what they actually stand for. What's sacred to them, all that sort of stuff. So I really appreciated, like, in the first episode, there's this scene where he kind of goes into this kind of like Mandalore camp, kind of this underground kind of Mandalore camp, all the other Mandalores and that there, and he meets like the female Mandalore Forge. And he's speaking to her, and he takes like the Beskar metal that the Empire are using for currency and stuff. And she melts it down and crafts it into another piece of shoulder armor for him, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Just a bit of that world building in there. There's a little bit, and we got some flashbacks and stuff, which we don't know much about yet, but will obviously be explored as the series goes on. But yeah, what did you think of the first episode on the whole? Or like on a whole?
Yeah, perfect.
And the end with the IG-11 bounty hunting droid that was voiced by Taika Waititi.
Yep, spot on. So was that voiced by him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, you probably did maybe some of the mocap on that as well.
Both episodes I thought were just as good as each other. So pretty much, like 5 out of 5 for me. I couldn't fault it. Instantly hooked. Like I know that's when I've got a good show, is when I'm like I want to watch more straight away. It's a binge worthy show. So definitely like I was like, yep, this is it. This is exactly what I want.
It feels good too because we haven't had a live action Star Wars show.
Yeah.
So it's kind of new but different, but we recognize a lot of stuff. It's good to be in that world and seeing more that's not just linked to the Force and the Skywalkers and all that sort of stuff.
It's in
the Empire, the first
world.
It's First Order.
Yeah, you're right. It's putting all that to the side for now, and it's like let's just
all
explore.
that happened over this side, but we're just going to go to the other side of the Outer Rim, and this is where we're going to focus.
It's a different kind of fresh take in the Star Wars universe. You know what I mean? Like it's a different take that it has been touched on before, but we don't get to see an entire show on that.
Yeah, it's being explored more in this as well.
And I found this better than a lot of the movies, to be honest. Even the recent ones, I just enjoyed this a lot more than all the current movies.
Yeah. I thought the first episode was really good. I thought it was a good launching off point. Yep. I did feel tonally it was a little bit off balance, but I thought, look, this was a great launch point. This was a great start. I'm really excited to see where this goes and where they flesh this out and build on this more.
The story's been great so far too. Just simple. I love it. Nice
that kind of reveal at the end of the first episode, which we'll get to probably in a minute. But you and I got together and we watched the second episode just on the weekend, like 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah.
And we sat down and we watched it. And what I took from it was that it was really good because it's picking up the story where it left in the first episode, but then it ends up being a self-contained episode because what actually happens is the Mandalorian ends up, his ship is damaged or whatever, and he ends up being marooned on the planet that he was on, where he was searching for this bounty. And he's kind of got to go on this little side quest to get his ship fixed so he can go back and get back to the main story, essentially. Yeah. But it kind of just tells me that, it's good they can kind of still do the main story and the main plot, but they can have little kind of self-contained episode of the weeks where this happens, which is something I'm kind of hoping in like The Witcher as well, because I keep harping on The Witcher about I want like a little self-contained episode where they walk into a bar and then Geralt sits down and just plays Gwent for 40 minutes. He has like a Gwent tournament with someone for 40 minutes. Like that's my fucking dream. Like we're just going to stop the main story. Like we're just going to stop here for the night, and half the episode is Geralt's playing Gwent with someone.
Or Yennefer gives him a funny look and
Yennefer pulls out the unicorn or something like that. Yeah, like... you know. There's a little wink to a unicorn in there. There probably will be a line about that in The Witcher anyway.
Oh, I bet you.
I really liked The Mandalorian. I love the look in the second one. You know, in the second episode, we got Jawas and stuff, which was really cool. Obviously, kids in fucking little brown robes and shit.
Oh, yeah.
I really dug the second episode.
Yeah, awesome.
I think I liked the second episode more and just as much so for different reasons as the first one. I really dig it. I think this is heading toward being kind of my favourite show of the year so far. Yeah. I've seen some good stuff this year. Cobra Kai Season 2 was fucking great.
Oh, yeah, I've still got to finish that too.
You got to watch that, man. It's a good show.
I watched
brilliant
probably
show.
4 episodes. Oh, 3 or 4.
Brilliant show, mate. You got to finish it.
First
great.
season was amazing.
Oh, fucking brilliant.
Yeah, loved it.
Brilliant show. That was my best show of last year, that was. But yeah, I really dug it.
Yeah, it's good.
Here's something a little funny that was in the first episode that people are like, is it? Isn't it? Is it? Isn't it? And I sent you a link for this the other day because I didn't even notice. I just saw this online. There's Mandalorian shit everywhere online at the moment.
Do you think it was or not?
Well, there's a scene where, like I said before, the Mandalorian in the first episode goes into kind of the underground Mandalore camp. And it's, you know, he walks down the stairs, he's walking through the hall, and it's all dark and shit. But he's walking, and he's in frame, and then you kind of see in the background another Mandalorian, and he kind of turns into the light ever so slightly, and he's holding a blaster in that. And his outfit's green, and he looks a hell of a fucking lot like Boba Fett. And everyone's like, is that Boba Fett in the back of the episode? Like, in the back of that scene, like in the man... Like, he kind of turns and he's holding the blaster the same. I think he's got a bit of yellow and stuff on his arm. His helmet's green.
Yeah.
And you're like, did he get out of the Sarlacc pit? Is that Boba Fett? Is that actually him? And I'm like, I fucking guarantee it. Like, Jon Favreau just put that in the back of that episode because he just wanted to fuck with people.
Do you reckon?
Well, you know...
They wouldn't bring him back, would they?
It's the thing where Boba Fett was such a cool character. He made such a huge impact, but he was barely in those movies. Like, he was in Empire Strikes Back a little bit, and he was in Return of the Jedi a little bit, and then he ended up...
I've just been watching him now, and the first ones.
Yeah, he ended up in the Sarlacc pit. And in the extended kind of canon and stuff, in the Star Wars, like, extended universe and that, he gets out of the Sarlacc pit, and he goes on to have other adventures.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, there was always talk about, you know... Will we ever see Boba Fett? There was going to be a Boba Fett movie a couple of years ago. Apparently, Josh Trank made like a teaser trailer for his Boba Fett movie, which is no doubt locked up in the Disney vault. We'll never, ever see it.
I reckon that they probably won't bring him back.
It was just a little wink. They're like, we know you want Boba Fett, and this kind of half confirms that he did get out of the Sarlacc pit.
I reckon what they're doing is, this is our new... He's like the new Boba Fett, this guy. And I think he's going to turn into the new fan favourite over time. It's going to take a long time, but I reckon, and then they'll just keep him alive. And
I think diehard Boba Fett fans will always still love Boba Fett, but they'll still have a very similar but different appreciation for the Mandalorian, but for different reasons. You know?
He kind of fills in that void now, doesn't he? He's like that.
I really like him, and fuck, oh my god, I want the hot toy. The hot toy comes out next year. Have you seen it?
Got it.
Fuck,
No.
it looks good.
I didn't even know.
It looks so fucking good. I think I'm gonna have to get it. I fucking need it. I need it. I need it. You would definitely give this show 5 out of 5 for both episodes. Yeah. I fucking loved it. I would really recommend it.
I couldn't fault one thing. That's why I'm giving it 5 out of 5.
I think any Star Wars fan would honestly love it.
Yeah, it's hard to judge because I haven't seen the entire season, but from what I've seen, definitely 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I think it's on. I think it's on a good track.
Yeah,
I think it's only like 8 episodes too.
And I could recommend this to someone who's not even a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, it's a great kind of entry point.
I was telling my wife Alira, I said, do you want me to put this on for you? You'd actually really like it. And she was like, oh, I'm not into Star Wars. I was like, yeah, but you watch this, you will. And I said, you'll actually be hooked.
You don't have to be a fan of the original movies to watch this. Like,
it's its own story.
Like, it helps, like, if you know those other movies, if you've seen them before, it'll help in roundabout sorts of ways. But, like, you could easily, like, someone who's never seen Star Wars before could easily just start watching this and just go from there.
Yeah.
Like, all this stuff helps, especially the spoiler part at the end of the first episode, which is, I'm going to tell you right now. The Mandalorian is given like a super secret bounty that's kind of not on the regular kind of bounty network, or there's like a bounty hunters guild or something like that.
Yeah.
And they have pucks. They have like little like hockey puck looking things where it's got like all their details and stuff. These are your bounties. Bloody go get them. You know, it's like a wanted poster essentially. But you know, like there's no puck for this bounty. You know, it's kind of real super top secret. It's high paying. It's very hush hush.
It's like a rare one.
Yeah, and then he goes to track down this bounty, and at the end of the first episode, he's got like his little tracker, and he finds this little capsule, and he opens it, and there's technically the bounty they're after is meant to be 50 years old, but he opens this capsule, and it's a baby. But it's Yoda's race. It's like a baby Yoda, so with the big green pointy ears and stuff.
Cute Yoda.
It's a little like we don't know what Yoda's race is actually called. We don't really know much about it because there's only ever been Yoda, and there was another one of Yoda's race in like the Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones or something like. There was like a female Yoda on the Jedi Council or something like that in one of the prequels. But yeah, we don't really know anything about Yoda's race or anything like that. So we don't know who this is. Is this just another baby of Yoda's race? Is it a clone of Yoda?
I could just see
is his race like super force sensitive?
I can see so many plushies being made now.
Oh my god, yeah.
Just like little cute,
like little
baby Yoda
like little baby Yodas. There'll be a pop vinyl come out. It'll be on like a clear stand. You'll get a capsule with a little baby in it.
I'll admit, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get something like that.
I really like the final shot of that first episode though, where you kind of see the silhouette of him and the capsule. Yeah, and he kind of reaches out like with the finger to the capsule and see the little baby hand reach up.
Cool.
Yeah.
What I liked was they were using a mix of practical effects and 3D as well. So yeah, that puppet version.
There was a little bit of that in the second episode. There was
really well done too.
I think it was a little bit of digital. I think it's kind of like what they did with the Dark Crystal. Yeah. So they kind of did like maybe puppeteering and stuff, but then they just
a couple of bits there and
did like a what is it called? They bloody composed it bloody onto the frame or whatever, got rid of all the wiring stuff because it kind of moves like a puppet, but it's a little bit sort of janky, like it's been digitally. The bit where he's chasing the frog and that, where he's out.
Yeah.
I really liked that second episode. I really got some lone wolf and cub vibes from that because I read that. Jon Favreau, when he was talking to Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian, like kind of he told him to watch like Clint Eastwood movies, watch westerns, and Akira Kurosawa films, so like Seven Samurai and those sorts of films. But when I was watching the second episode, I got a real Lone Wolf and Cub vibe off it, which is a manga that came out of Japan, which is about a samurai Ronin who was an assassin. And he kind of just travels Japan, but he travels with his baby son, and they're called Lone Wolf and Cub. So I kind of got those vibes off that second episode. You know, you kind of got like this bounty hunter, essentially somewhat assassin.
Yeah.
You know, getting along with this baby. So I kind of got some obvious inspirations and comparisons to that to those books. As well, which I thought was very cool. Some Japanese inspiration in that as well, some samurai-ish sort of stuff. Because I get a little bit of a samurai vibe off the Mandalorian as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I fucking dig it though. I dig it. Oh, that hip shot with the blaster, just a chum. Love it. So good. Yeah. I totally fucking recommend the Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's awesome.
If you haven't watched it, you should fucking watch it. It's great.
Yeah. I told you how I've only recently just started to rewatch the original 3 again.
Yeah. When I came around the other night, you were watching The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. So I'm most of the way through that now, and I don't know. I just realised that I don't know if it's just been another one of those big long gaps, but when I'm watching them now, I feel like I haven't seen a lot of it. I'm like, I don't remember this at all, and so I'm really just trying to get a refresher. I want to know, just the original 3 classics that.
Yeah.
I want to get a big. follow the story more.
Yeah, absolutely. Like rewatch them and know what's going on because with the new movie coming out soon.
Yeah, December. So,
but what I've found with you is that when you tend to watch stuff where you're different to me, is you're very much in the moment. You're just like, whoa, stuff's happening on screen, and you're just absorbing that in the moment, you know, in time and that, and you're kind of just experience that on the spot. And when you're done with it, you're happy to put it away and maybe revisit it again in a couple of years. You're not one to really hold on to stuff. You know, like if you see a good movie in that, we can talk about it and you can think about it for a couple of days afterwards. If it really hits you, like Joker or Terminator Dark Fate, you know, for example. Yeah. But, you know, you're happy to put those away and not really grab onto scenes and hang on to them. Some of them obviously do stand out, but you're not really wanting to sort of hang on to stuff and retain. You're very passive like that. Like you're happy just to let the movie wash over you and you just watch it in the moment and then come back to it.
Yeah, I love that.
Kind of I envy that about you a little bit because when I watch stuff again, nothing's new for me because I've watched it so many times and I know stuff back to front. Like I still love it. I love shit and I can love it every time I watched it, but I never get...
You're in it for
I never get that first feeling, never get that first watch feeling again.
Yeah, you just like the kind of entertainment value, something to kind of pass time and or like, you know, enjoyment. You still get the enjoyment. Just kind of to follow it. And
it's more passion though, I think. Like when I love something, like I passionately fucking love it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll just fucking absorb it and I can just watch it again and again and again. Sometimes I get burnt out with stuff and I got to put it away. But there are some things that I can just watch over and over again and just live it and just every time I watch it, just love it again and again and again and just appreciate it for what it is and how much I love it.
It's kind of cool though. And it's like sometimes, even if I bring up something like a movie that I'll just talk about, and I was like, I want to watch that. And you're like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm coming around. Like, you just want to watch it.
That's right? Like just then. Like you're like, oh, I kind of feel like watching District 9 again. Like, fuck. Like, because when you haven't seen stuff for ages...
You're always ready to go, aren't you?
Yeah, I like love watching stuff with you again because... It's like you watching it for the first time, and I can kind of feed off your enjoyment. Yeah, I'm like
I do that with other people.
I'm like a movie nerd leech in that way. Yeah. Like you're almost enjoying stuff for the first time again, and I'm just like, I'm feeding on that feeling. Like fuck yeah, he's loving it. I'm loving it. That's
one little loophole I should have mentioned as well. There's only one other way you can get me to watch a movie again quite soon is if like say like The Invitation, you know, that cool thriller movie.
Yeah.
So I really love watching that. I watched it by myself. And then I had my sisters visit for the weekend sometime. My two sisters. And
you're like, you got to watch this.
Oh, what's a good movie? And I was like, I've got perfect one. And I was like, right. And I love rewatching with someone next to me who hasn't seen it. So I'll rewatch something then again. And I don't mind because I'm more watching. I'm soaking up their enjoyment. And they were sure, like, you know, they loved it, but they were also kind of freaked out as well. But it's one of them ones that will sit with you because it's such a big twist and everything. It's crazy. Yeah.
I hear you.
The Invitation. Watch that if you want to watch something.
The Invitation, right? Yeah, it's on Netflix. It is a good movie. It is a good movie. Yeah, it's not what you expect.
No.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a little bit tough. It's a little bit of a tougher movie in that as well. Yeah, but it's good. It's a really good watch. You get through it. It's really good.
Definitely.
Both you and I bought and have been playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Which I honestly think is probably the best Star Wars game. I haven't played a lot of Star Wars games. I've played a few over the years. But I honestly think this is the best Star Wars game I've played since Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've ever
original
played that
Xbox. That was such a good fucking game. Straight up RPG. Playing, you creating your own character, you know, building a group, having a ship, traveling to different planets.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome story. Really? Awesome fucking storyline.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly think this is probably the best Star Wars game I've played since that.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
What about you? Are you loving it? You found, I think this was a bit different because I don't think it's been marketed as well as it could have been.
Yeah.
But even for me personally, I thought I was just going into just a straight up kind of action game experience.
Yeah,
but it's not that at all. It's more of it's almost like a Dark Souls game. It's like Dark Souls light.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a diet version of Dark Souls.
Yeah.
You know, you got a stamina bar. You know, you can't just go in and hack and slash. You got to be a bit smarter about your attacks. You got to parry. You know, or you're just going to get killed, which I did a lot until I got the hang of it.
And I messaged you guys, didn't I? Because I didn't expect that too. I actually thought it was from what I saw in the trailer, like it was more of an Uncharted type game.
Yeah, which it is in a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways, yeah. But I was very thrown back at the start by I was there's no real checkpoints at all. It's you get to a meditation point. That's your save point. You got
you meditate and you
got to manually save it yourself.
There's no auto save feature.
It's kind of like level system, so you got to get as far as you can until you get to the next save point. And if you die in the middle, you got to go all the way back to where you. And
you lose all your XP. Yeah, just like Dark Souls. So in Dark Souls, you die.
Yeah.
You lose all your souls. You go back to your last save point. Even if you've been playing for half hour and haven't saved it, you've just lost the half hour you had.
Yeah.
And you have to go back to where you died and pick up all your souls that you had. Because if you die again and you haven't picked them up, well, they're all gone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a risk reward thing. Whereas in this, it's very similar. So you accrue XP as you go. But if you die, if you're killed by a specific enemy, you lose all your XP.
Yeah.
But what you have to do is you don't get back to that point, you just pick it up. In some cases you can, but what you have to do is you have to get back to that enemy that killed you and hit them once.
Yeah.
You get all your XP back and then your health and force meter is refilled. So you're pretty much good to go from the get-go.
It threw me off at first and I was frustrated, but I wasn't going to give up, but yeah, when you made it clear to me that's a system, it's like a thing, and you made me understand that, it's like you get, it's like more of a challenge. You actually feel more of the risk before, if you die, you feel the risk of coming up against... It's a
risk-reward situation.
Any enemy coming up against you, you kind of feel a bit more like, holy shit, I don't want to die. Like
you can literally be killed by anything in this game. I played this game probably for about... I've probably played it for nearly 30 hours so far.
Yeah.
And like I can still be killed by like enemies you meet right at the very beginning of the game. Like I can get overwhelmed pretty easily and be killed by almost anything at any time in this game. It might make me sound shit at the game, but it's true. Like you can literally be killed by pretty much anything at any time. It doesn't matter if they're just like a little two-legged beastie that dies in one or two hits.
Yeah.
You know, if you come up against them the wrong way and they get a couple of good hits on you,
and you might
can die
only
pretty
have
quick.
like a little bit of health on you as you're going through, because it's hard to get health.
And you can't heal as quick. You don't just hit a button and automatically heal.
Yeah.
You know, your little droid throws you a stim and it takes you like a second or two for the action to happen and then your health to come back. So if you're trying to get health and then an enemy hits you before the action's completed, well, you're going to die. So you need to be smart about where you heal. So it's a very risk-reward situation. Like it makes you... It tries to make you more of a Jedi. So you be a bit more passive. You be a bit calmer.
Yeah,
You've got to watch what you're doing. You got to think. You got to be methodical. You have to be calm. You can't get like overwrought with emotions and stuff, or you'll fuck it, and you'll die.
Yeah, not a button basher at all.
Yeah, it's not a button basher at all. You got to be smart about how you play.
You got to practice your fighting skills and
then when you overcome that, you feel better for it because you've just beaten that challenge.
And you have more fun too, especially because you actually learn the techniques and you do the dodge at the right time and parry and things like that. So on the other side of things, it's really fun in the action and
platforming as well. Very cool. Uncharted in that way too.
Yeah, yep. I found my first play, I was, I don't know, a little thrown back by a couple of bugs. I think it was just bugs and stuff. Like when he was walking, he was twitching a lot. His legs would keep flipping out under him.
I've still got some bugs in mine. I felt this game probably could have done with a couple more months polish and then be released, but obviously they had a release date to hit with the new movie. With Disney Plus, The Mandalorian coming out and the new movie coming out next month, so they kind of wanted Star Wars hype at the most to sell as much as they could, you know.
But apart from that, it's all been a really good play. I wish I had more time for it, actually. It's been hard to put some time in, but yeah, I really want to dive into it.
I think the graphics are great. I like the story. You play as Cal Kestis, who was a Jedi Padawan.
Yep.
He escaped the Jedi Purge, Order 66 at the end of Revenge of the Sith. I haven't finished the game yet, but
is he one of the surviving... Hang on. No.
He was one of the surviving Jedi. So at the end of Revenge of the Sith,
where they killed all those kids.
Yeah, Grand Chancellor Palpatine and that he execute Order 66.
Oh, that's cool.
And all the clones turned on everyone, and they started to purge and kill all the Jedi, and he escaped the purge.
I didn't realize he was one of the kids. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
he's been hiding out on a planet, for keeping low for 5 years.
Yeah,
but then eventually he's through one way or another at the beginning of the game. He's discovered, and he goes on the run again, and it leads to a bigger galaxy hopping adventure.
Yep.
Yeah. It's very cool. I enjoy the main villain in the game, the second sister, the Inquisitors, who are actually like Jedi hunters.
Yep.
I really enjoy the second sister. I think she's a great character, awesome name, great design. The helmet's wicked. The double-bladed lightsaber is sick. I love everything about it. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah, it's good. It's
I really
good fun.
dig the game.
And I just saw with you had like a double-sided lightsaber?
Yeah, a double-bladed lightsaber. You get a double-bladed lightsaber unlock. I got that really early in the game.
You got like the choke ability or something. You're like holding them up against.
Force pull. So you unlock that. So instead of using a force push where you push stuff away, you pull stuff towards you, which awesome. Makes it easier. So like if you're swinging and there's a rope or a bit of vine that's a little bit out of reach. So when you swing and you jump, you use your force pull to pull the rope towards you. Yep. So to close the distance, and you grab and swing, Once you get the hang of all the mechanics and you start using it all, like pretty fluidly and that, you feel pretty sick. You feel pretty accomplished in that in doing it. Once you get the hang of it all, once you start to unlock everything. But no, Jedi Fallen Order is really cool. It's definitely a game I recommend to any Star Wars fan. I dig it. I'm digging everything tonight.
Even for anyone who's played, because it falls in the kind of category of Uncharted action adventure. If you love all those kind of games, this is definitely one to try out too.
Don't go in expecting just a straight up action hack and slash, because you're going to get a bit of a surprise. So expect to go in with a challenging but rewarding combat system.
It's not too hard or anything. It's just you got to make sure you practice a bit and get it right. And the lightsaber is very satisfying as well. Hitting and everything is cool.
And you use it as like a light and stuff when you go into like dark caves and shit. You hold it up and you use it to like illuminate the caves. Awesome. You can see that's really cool.
I wish we could like dismember and stuff, like if limbs would fly and that.
You can do with creatures and stuff. You just can't do with humans and that. Yeah,
they're probably trying to keep it very PG-ish.
Yeah, you don't want kids hacking up people.
Yeah,
this isn't Grand Theft Auto or some shit like that.
Yeah,
no torture scenes or anything. No. But no, short and sweet about Jedi Fallen Order. I totally recommend it. Yeah, it's from Respawn Entertainment, who did Titanfall 2, which was one of the best games of the last few years. Probably the best first-person shooter of the last few years.
Yep.
If you don't think it is, well, fuck you, because it is. Nah, Titanfall 2 is a fucking sick game. You should go back and play it before Titanfall 3 eventually comes out, which I think it's gonna.
Yeah, cool.
Somebody asked some of the Respawn guys about, hey, what's the go with Titanfall 3? And they're like, no comment. I'm like, oh, no comment means maybe something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I recommend it. Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, me too.
So finally, Rise of Skywalker's coming out. PB.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Remember when we did our last Jedi show around your house? We did it in the Pat Cave.
Oh, was that for the
Last Jedi?
Yeah, cool.
We had a little bit to say about that. I haven't listened to that show in a while. I'll have to go back and check that out.
I remember that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a bit to say about that, didn't we? I remember one thing we brought up is we didn't like the fact that we found out the ships have fuel and that they can run out of fuel. You're like, oh man, I didn't want to know that.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of got a little bit of a reminder of The Last Jedi in The Mandalorian, because there's one scene where he's talking about his payment or whatever, and he's like, that's not even going to be enough to cover fuel. And I was like, bloody hell. Bloody Last Jedi.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I'm interested to see what's going to happen in Rise of Skywalker. I'm keen to see it, but I'm not saying I'm itchy or super fucking excited to watch it. I'll probably go watch it on day one or whatever.
I'm more just
see how they wrap it up.
I think I want to see how it's wrapped up and
how the Emperor fits in. And
I'm not engrossed into this story that's happening in these new ones. I'm just I'm there more for the entertainment. It's more of his big blockbuster, and I want to see a bit more. I just love seeing all the cool stuff and that, because
I know you do.
I'm not really all wrapped up in the story, so not as a big fan and all that. I like the older ones and stuff, but this one's more just entertaining for me. So something to watch.
Bit of an escape.
I don't really know what's going on, to be honest, in the trailer. So
purposefully, I think.
Yeah. So the title is Skywalker. I'm kind of wanting to know what's going to happen there.
Yeah. What they mean by the rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Is there going to be another Skywalker out there? Is Luke kind of... Well, we know Mark Hamill's going to be in it in some fashion. He's going to come back as a fucking Force ghost or whatever. But, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Maybe it's just the name of Skywalker or something like that. They try that. But it'll be interesting.
Wonder if they'll go with Dark Rey. They'll have her go to
I don't know. Do you reckon that was a bit of a misdirection in the trailer?
I think so. Because
maybe that's like some sort of dream or something like that. You know how in the second one she goes into that cave and she has the mirrored vision and stuff. Maybe
I doubt that, because there's no way they'd spoil that in a trailer. Like that's
no.
If that's the case, then that's shit. Like
maybe it's like some kind of projection or something. Like the Emperor's like projecting into her mind or something like that. She's like seeing a part of herself, what she could be if she went the other way.
That's like Terminator Genesis shit with
John Connor.
John Connor.
And it always comes back to Terminator.
And they put it in the trailer and everything, and I was like, oh. Yeah, if they're going to do something like that, I think they would have not put it in the trailer if she really was going to go on the dark side. I think it would have been a nice surprise, like something new, but don't know.
Yeah. Are you going to rewatch the prequels at all, or are you just watching Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi?
I was thinking about that. I was originally going to, and then I just realised in my head, I was like, oh, well, I only actually watched those. Yeah, it was probably like a good 5 years ago or so, but I still feel like I remember most of them enough to be like, they're not good enough to want me to watch them yet. Like,
there's some good stuff in those prequels. There's some good stuff.
Good moments, but it's all, very lighter, a bit fluffy. I don't know. There's something about it that's a bit more. Yeah. They're like dancing around and stuff.
Selling a lot of toys.
Yeah. But I mean, there are good moments in it.
Yeah.
Some pretty good moments.
The pod race in Phantom Menace is actually great. Yeah. Like the pod race scene.
Yeah, I remember.
Obviously, Darth Maul at the end is pretty cool. Yeah. The whole double-bladed lightsaber reveal was fucking blew your mind when it first came out. You're like, oh my god,
that's cool, yeah.
Lightsaber in two ends. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I remember going to see Attack of the Clones at cinema.
Yep.
I just remember Yoda having his massive fight with fucking Count Dooku.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And Revenge of the Sith, I thought General Grievous was pretty cool. And as much as I talked about the other week, the final fight on Mustafar between Obi-Wan and Anakin was much more of a dance, or all these bloody flourishes and that were very unnecessary, where they're like spinning lightsabers behind their backs and shit before they strike. I'm like, all that looks cool, but it's very unnecessary. It serves no purpose at all. It's just kind of, stylistic fluff.
There was one funny thing I forgot to mention, but you know how I've been rewatching the first ones. So I watched the first one.
Star Wars.
First one that was made, I should say. Yeah.
Star Wars, yeah.
Yeah. And
A New Hope.
Yeah, New Hope. And that scene at the end where Darth Vader is coming up against Obi-Wan Kenobi and they're having their lightsaber battle.
Yes.
And that moment was kind of ruined for me because of the recent YouTube video that went viral, because someone remade that scene.
Oh, they remade that scene in CG. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they digitally made it. Like if that scene was made today, and it was like choreographed properly, and it was really, really intense, and Darth Vader's using his like push powers and impacts and everything, and he's like throwing barrels at him and stuff. And
I remember watching that.
It was really well done and epic. And then so when I was really watching the first one, they were kind of just like tapping their little lightsabers together, like a little stick fight. Yeah. It's just like a little stick fight, and they're not doing much at all. They're just kind of two old guys standing there tapping their canes together. That's what it felt like. And,
now it does, but at the time, it was the biggest thing on the planet. It was the biggest game changer ever.
I was like, man, I'd love to see that edited scene thrown into the real movie. I'd personally love to see it.
And you go back to the first Star Wars, and you can see where the Mandalorian built off these movies and that, because the first Star Wars is essentially a Western. You know, it's about this boy who lives on a farm. He works the farm with his aunt and uncle, and he dreams about going out into the great wider world and joining a good cause and stuff. And then, you know, tragedy happens in his neck of the woods, which pushes him out into the world, into a bigger world he never knew, and knew he had a grander purpose than he ever thought.
Yeah.
And it is essentially a Western, that first movie, when you look at it. And you can see how The Mandalorian kind of ties into that as well, especially like, you know, planets like Tatooine and that, you know, just desert planets and dust, you know, dirt, gives a lot of Western vibes off that, you know, like strolling into town and, you know, into the saloon, or in the Star Wars universe's version, the cantina and that.
Yeah.
It's very cool. It's very, very cool. Do you have like a favorite? Like, if you had to pick a movie that was your favorite, you know, which one it was? I feel like you're more of a kind of a... If I had to pick, I'd probably say you're more of a kind of Return of the Jedi kind of guy, because it's a little more action-adventure-y.
Yeah, see, it's hard for me to say. I think that would be my favorite, but it's hard for me to say because I haven't watched...
You haven't got to it yet.
I'm about to watch that one next, and in my mind, I can't really remember much about it.
Yeah.
Apart from that scene with in the dungeon.
In Jabba's palace. And
and like, that's one of the big iconic
Luke
things
fights the Rancor.
that I'm looking forward to. So yeah, I'd probably actually would say that movie.
And you got the Ewoks too to look forward to.
Yes. See, that's
you got excited. He's like, yes, Ewoks.
You just reminded me when I was a kid. That's one of the big things I loved. I was glued to the screen. I was like, these little guys are awesome.
And the speeder bike chase as well. Yeah.
It's
very cool.
Good movie.
You got some good stuff to look forward to.
That's probably the best one. Yeah.
Yeah. I figured you'd probably like that one the best.
When does Han Solo get trophied in by the Boba Fett? Sorry.
In Empire Strikes Back. So it's at the end of Empire Strikes Back. So it's the one you're watching now.
Oh, the one I'm watching now.
You get toward the end of the movie. And...
cool, yeah. Saw him a few times floating around, and I was wondering when he was going to take him down.
He gets frozen in carbonite.
Yeah.
Which they had in The Mandalorian as well. They had on his ship.
I saw that. That was cool.
He had that great fucking line when he was bringing in that bounty. He's like, you can come in warm or you can come in cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, but then he eventually freezes him in carbonite, which I saw a couple of people bring up because they say in Empire Strikes Back, this carbonite, it's not designed for humans and that, he could die. And Vader's like, I don't fucking care, throw him in. It doesn't matter if he bloody dies or whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
And they're like, if they said that about Empire, then he's using all the... Isn't it, like, dangerous for him to be collecting bounties and freezing them in carbonite? And somebody was like, well... that one was probably maybe a bit faulty or whatever, and it wasn't calibrated for humans or something like that. Or afterwards they were like, that worked for Boba Fett, so let's tweak that technology a little bit so it works well for humanoids or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, okay. And anyway, that's the kind of stuff that I didn't worry about anyway. I can kind of suspend. That's like... There are some things that you just delve too deep into. Yeah. Like, sometimes I do that. I'm like, what about the fucking that? If they did that, they couldn't have done that. What's going on there? This right here contradicts this other thing that was said in that movie 37 years ago.
Well, I suppose this is based 5 years later too. Maybe the tech is a bit better or something. I don't know.
Yeah, when's this set? This is a couple of years after Return of the Jedi or whatever.
I think I heard 5 years after Boba Fett died, wasn't it? Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that, maybe. I also, that's another thing I liked about The Mandalorian. I like the kind of the pockets of the Empire that are kind of still around. Like when he goes to see bloody Werner Herzog about the bounty and that, and the door opens and you got the 3 stormtroopers there, and it's almost like they're kind of in hiding and stuff, but they still have a present. Their stormtrooper outfits aren't like super clean. They look worn and dirtied, like they've been wearing them for fucking weeks, like they've been on the run in the underground. I didn't realize that after the fall of the Empire.
Oh
yeah, it's very very cool. Just lots of little stuff, a lot of little world building stuff. Very cool. Very cool.
Awesome. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I think that's really it, Patrick Brown. I don't think we really have much Star Wars stuff to talk about, do we?
Yeah, no, that's about it, I think.
That's pretty much it. I'm just going to... Just really, anytime Star Wars comes up, it just gets me in the mood because I've got one of those Force effects, lightsabers, and I just run around the house with it. Oh, I'm Luke Skywalker, motherfucker.
It is a bit of a lifesaver. It can save your life, and it's colourful. So
yeah, lights up the room too. Lights up the room heaps. Actually, I can see why they did that in the Fallen Order. Nah, very cool. All right, that was a good little Star Wars roundup for today.
Yeah,
we got through a lot.
Yep.
Thanks for coming, pal.
Yeah, no worries.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Well, let's see. How do we normally wrap this thing up? If you want to find us, check us out on Instagram, The Bearded Geeks, @The Bearded Geeks. Yep. If you want to come on Instagram and follow us, that's where all of our posting and that's going to be from now on. You can find Patrick Brown @Patrick Brown Art on Facebook and Instagram, and patrickbrownart.com if you want to go to his website and see his nudes. Or his six-pack selfies. Just showing off his six-pack. I remember when you had a six-pack, you ripped motherfucker.
Oh, what, it was like 12 or something. Yeah, it's been a long time.
It was before you got married.
Yeah, before I got married. Before I had some kids too.
Before you got happy and you had a lot of spare time. Yeah. Anyway, it's good to be back. It's good to get that off my chest. Expect... not a weekly show, but you're pretty much still going to get a weekly show. We're just not tied to that weekly format. I'm not constricting myself to that. But even with that gone, I still feel like you're going to get more content than you did before. And like I said, I've got some cool ideas for some shows I want to do in the future.
Yeah.
Probably start working on them sooner rather than later. We're kind of just taking our time to, if something comes up and we can knock out a show about it, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
More content to come, more consistent content.
Oh, yeah.
And, hope you tune in. So I just want to say thanks for everyone who stuck with us in the long run. I did go dark there for about, nearly 6 months. It's good to be back. And thanks for everyone who stuck around. Thanks, mate. I don't know what I'd do without you.
Thank you, mate.
Give me a lifeline.
No.
Give me a lifeline to the world.
Give
me personal flotation. You're like me floaties, mate. I put them on your arm.
It's all you.
And you hold me up. You keep me above water, mate.
That's all the magic of you, mate. This is your show.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time on The Bearded Geeks.
Hey!